So before we go ahead and jump into solving some problems on drawing bending moment diagrams and shear force diagrams, it is almost customary for us to learn what are the different types of beams in existence depending upon the support condition. So first we are going to look at the different types of beams, and then we will revisit or have a recap on the conventions, on the sign conventions for the positive shear and the positive moment, and some other fundamentals of the bending moments and the shear forces depending upon the location of the beam or the support condition that you're looking at. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the different types of support conditions that can happen in a beam, right? So overall, as you know, that beams, depending upon the types of support, you can classify them broadly into determinate beams and indeterminate beams over here. Now, if in between these beams, we will come back to all the different types of beams that you see over here in a minute. But before we go over here, remember that if suppose that there is no load in the positive x direction or the negative x direction, essentially no axial load is there, then in that particular case your summation of fx equals to 0, that equation of equilibrium becomes pretty unusable. You are left with two other equations of equilibrium. One of them is the summation of fy equals to 0, and the other one is the overall moment in the beam must balance out, right? So those essentially dictate to you that whether a beam is statically determinate or indeterminate. For example, here in the first couple of cases, the simply supported case and the case with the overhang that you have, if you have to go and draw the reactions, you will have two unknowns over here, and similarly for the overhang you will have two unknowns. So you have two unknowns, two equations of equilibrium statically determinate, so they are easy to solve. Even for the cantilever beam that you will have a reaction and you will have a moment over here, and reactions are typically drawn with a marked line, right? So you will have these reactions and you have the corresponding two equations of equilibrium, which are easy to solve for these ones. Now, in contrast to the structurally determinate problems, you have the indeterminate ones. The beams that you see at the bottom part of your page over here are the statically indeterminate beams. And why are they statically indeterminate? Is because you have, say for the first one, and this is also probably the place that you start seeing the names which you have not seen before, right? For example, the continuous beam. Why is it called continuous? Because it spans over a support. It is not a simply supported beam. It has one support at the left end, it has one on the middle, and it continues over that support to the next support over here. So it's a continuous beam. This beam is known as a propped cantilever over here. So for the propped cantilever, in contrast to a cantilever that you see, you have a simply supported roller, or you may have a pin support at the very end over here. Now both of these beams, as you see, are statically indeterminate. And why? Because even in the first one you will have three reactions. If suppose your loads are acting vertically down, you have three reactions but two equations of equilibrium, so it's statically indeterminate to the order 1. And for the propped cantilever as well, as you can see, you will have at the cantilever end, you will have a similar kind of reactions as you had seen earlier. You will have a vertical reaction and a bending moment, but at this roller end that you will have just one reaction. Remember, rollers or pin supports, they cannot take bending moments because it allows for a rotation at that particular end. But here as well, you have three unknowns but two equations of equilibrium. You need one extra equation for solving these kinds of problems. Now, as opposed to the first one, you have a fixed, this is called a fixed beam, or it is also known as a double cantilever, because for a single cantilever, it's just one end is fixed, the other one is free. And for a fixed beam, it's a double cantilever. At both sides you have a cantilever end. So as you can tell, for this particular type of beam, you will have a vertical reaction and a moment at one end, a vertical reaction and a moment at the other end over here. So you have four unknowns but two equations of equilibrium. And so this is in a sense more indeterminate than the other two cases that we looked at, right? So moving ahead, that a structure, when it is statically indeterminate, it does not mean it's impossible to solve. Now in this particular course of solid mechanics, you will learn a couple of techniques in how to solve the indeterminate beams, but later when you are taking advanced course on structural mechanics, you will come across far more advanced techniques to solve the indeterminate problems. But just keeping things simple over here, you will see that for these structures, right? At least for the first two, they can be made determinate, or if the structural engineer wishes to make them determinate, they can be made determinate very easily. For example, in the continuous beam as well as in the propped cantilever beam that you see, if you go and introduce a hinge, right? If you introduce a hinge, you are imposing an additional condition. That remember that hinge, the discussion which we had in one of our earlier lectures, that the hinge is something which cannot resist a moment. For example, if I have a beam, right, a hinge cannot resist a moment. It can only resist loads about the x or the y axis, but it is free to rotate, and when something is free to happen, the corresponding force does not develop. So if it's free to rotate, that means that it will not have a corresponding bending moment at that particular point. So essentially what you are doing now, that at the point of the hinge that you have over here, if you are drawing the free body diagram of, say, the right part from H to C, right, and if you draw the free body diagram, what you would have at this fourth place, you will have a reaction of Cy, and here maybe you will have Hy, you will have a Hx over here, right, and correspondingly you have an equal and opposite Hx and a Hy if you're drawing from A to H. Now if you take the moments about this particular point, you can easily solve for your Cy. So this is how, you know, so initially you had three unknowns. Initially you had, you know, one, this reaction is unknown, but once you have gone and placed, you know, this particular hinge that is over here, now after you have put that hinge, you have made essentially that your structure is a statically determinate structure now. So based on these Hx and Hy, if you take the moment at this point, you can calculate Cy. Now once you know the reaction Cy, the others can be obtained from the equations of equilibrium. But it's not always the case that if you introduce an internal hinge, you will magically convert a statically indeterminate structure into a determinate one. For example, you see this one over here. Here you started with 4 unknowns. So if you are introducing one hinge over here, it's not going to make your structure determinate. You will still have 3 unknowns but 2 equations of equilibrium. You have to do additional things for these kinds of problems to make them statically determinate, right? So this is all that is there in different types of beam before we start solving the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram problems. And why it's essential is because, you know, it becomes a part of your vocabulary. If all of a sudden somebody tells you that, okay, I have a propped cantilever with this kind of a load, then you are not, you know, wondering in your mind that what is a propped cantilever. A propped cantilever is simply where you have a cantilever end at one at one particular end, you have a cantilever, you know, fixed support, and in the other end you have a roller or you have a pin. So that's a propped cantilever, right? So next what we are going to do is that we are going to revisit some of the concepts that we covered in the, you know, in the first lecture on this topic, and also some of the fundamentals of drawing the shear force diagrams and the bending moment diagram.